Welcome to Spaghetti Launchers, the world-building podcast where you throw spaghetti at the wall and it is up to you what sticks. I'm Kyle.
I'm Ethan. Today's episode is all about crusades, jihads, and other holy wars.
Yes.
Because really, a crusade is just a normal war, but with a religious motivation.
Yeah.
There are the crusade. There have been lots of jihads throughout history.
Yeah.
And then now everyone has sort of religious, there are so many different religious people offering commentary on war that you could make, there are lots of different ways you could look at a lot of modern wars as crusades too.
True. I think it's like, if a religious leader is backing it, like the Pope saying,
governing it.
Yeah. Like the Pope saying, we're having a crusade next year. Then you're like, okay, well, that feels like a crusade versus like
the religious leader actually is the one prosecuting the war
versus like a secular leader declaring a war and then a religious figure latching onto it and using it for their own gains is a little bit different versus who's prosecuting the war. If it's a religious leader, then you have a crusade, a jihad, or a holy war.
Correct.
I have been playing a shit ton of Crusader Kings 3 of late.
Tell me about that. I've never played this game.
They're really good.
I've heard.
I won't get too far into the podcast because that will be too much of a diatribe. But I just want to say that Crusades, Jihads, and Holy Wars are a big part of it, and they are the entire inspiration of my idea today. So,
I refer to this entire stage of society as the prelude to the Butlerian Jihad. I did that at work, and nobody understood what I was talking about, and it made me sad.
The Butlerian?
Yeah. The Butlerian Jihad was the war against the thinking machines in the Duneverse.
Got it. Dune is a fantastic and the primary source of fictional crusade
jihad. I think also Warhammer is like there are a bunch of holy wars happening.
Yeah,
aren't there?
I guess so. I don't know.
I don't know enough about Warhammer. It always sounds like really interesting lore, and then
it's just a lot.
It's just a lot, and so I'm like,
I mean, there's a lot of holy wars and things, but it feels like that is one that is so evocative of our real world holy wars in a different way than a lot of other ones where it's like, well, this fictional god has a holy war against that fictional god. Like sometimes it just feels like, okay, we're in a fantasy versus like, oh no, this feels like a jihad is
like
happening.
An actual struggle in the name of religion.
At least I'll get you. Yeah. And the fact that it's all Bene Gesserit bullshit makes it
even better.
It makes it so much better.
It's so good. Fuck.
Anyway, Dune 3 next year, starring Robert Pattinson now too.
I'm so excited.
All right, so let's tease our noodles here. What are your words?
Bring out your dead.
You've done that before.
Yep.
You can't. No. New house rule. You can't reuse the words as a teaser.
Shit. In that case,
I believe in you. You can do this.
This land is your land. This land is mine. Well, nope. That's just everyday colonialism.
That's not far off.
This land is your land. This land is
Holy
my
wars aren't necessarily. They're not usually righteous.
No, and they are often a lot about property too.
Yeah.
That's
the Crusades, like the Catholic Crusades, were mostly about property,
and the jihad, and a lot of modern jihads too are about like ISIS's whole shtick was about reclaiming Muslim land.
Yeah, but destroying its artifacts in the process.
I'm sorry to sound like a broken record. What about you?
The Revenge of the Pagans.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, you want me to go first?
A little bit.
Okay. So I already teased my Crusader Kings thing. I'm literally just going to talk about exactly my thought process on this because it's so direct.
Just do it.
I was playing as the Basque, and my goal in this run was to basically have the Basque become pagan and take over the world as the pagans. To do that, you have to deal with both the mostly Muslim world to your south and the mostly Catholic world to your north, and you are in the middle. And then the problem is both of them, if you become pagan, will then declare a jihad or a crusade against you to turn you and to take away your land and turn you back into whatever that is. And eventually, I became powerful enough, and I took down the Pope. I removed the Pope, and I made the Pope pagan.
The pagan Pope?
Yeah. So I made
Pogan?
I made the Western Roman Empire, and it's Basque, and they're all now pagan.
Nice.
Basque paganism.
Nice.
And it made me really think about, like, it took me a while to do that, and I had to get very militarily powerful to make it fine.
Yeah.
But this threat that I couldn't be religiously pagan because I knew I would just get invaded and I'd be fucked over. And I was like, okay, well, what if pagans were the ones doing the crusading and we're saying, fuck you, we want to practice how we want, and instead going in and taking down organized religion, not making people practice their religion, but saying we will crusade to destroy any power structures that are forming around religion. To say every church that is being like if a church gets big, they'll come in and just burn it all down. They will invade, they will come out of the mountains and say, no organized religion, not allowed to do that. And they just burn it all down and then leave. It's literally just it is a crusade to maintain their freedom, to make sure no one else can be powerful enough to fuck with them on their religion.
Right.
Because
paganism was also organized.
Yeah.
Like, and polytheism is also there are plenty of institutions around this.
I just mean like organized in the like militarily
imperial sense.
Yeah, in like a very politically structured way.
I see what you're saying. Got it. Yeah. I'm not like, it is not just like, witches in the woods. Yeah, no. I wasn't sure which branch of. I was like, wait a second.
You could do it either way.
You certainly could. Because that was sort of the Britons pushing back against the Roman empires, and that was more witches in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and this is like very specifically me thinking like, okay, well, like, what if some pagans came out of the Alps and ran down to Rome and then burned down the Vatican? And we're like,
that sounds dope.
And I mean,
not that I'm pro burning down the Vatican. That's just a great story hook.
Like, yeah. I mean, and I did that in this game.
Yeah, that's just really fun.
I took over Rome and then I made the Pope my bitch.
Yeah.
That's kind of that idea in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great. I like that it also flips a historical narrative.
Yes.
Because people like calling pagans, people use pagan as a slur.
Yeah, it's very much a it's
always the civilized versus like the
barbarians,
the pagan savages, right?
Yeah, it's where the Romans use barbarian to describe their uncivilized, air quotes,
right,
enemies.
Right.
The Catholic Church used pagan to describe anybody who was a non-Christian,
correct,
religion.
Correct.
It's the same. It is a slur to other this group who then loses out in history. So then we don't have the proper accounting necessarily of it, and they didn't have as many records and all whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
I think that's really fun.
Flipping this storyline, like as you said, to say, well, here's the pagan saying, no, we don't want you to get powerful. We just want religion to be a personal, like this is much more like just each part of the world do your own thing. Just leave us alone on our religion. You can invade us for other shit if you want. Good luck. But we're really just, we don't want religion being the reason for any war because we don't want ours fucked with.
Yeah.
And it could be that happened at one point and they had to fight back and they reclaimed their land. And then they were like, oh, well, to make sure this doesn't happen again, we are just going to basically create our own pagan crusade that if that specific religion does this, we'll come after them. And then here you are 150 years later or something. Now you do it to any religion that becomes more organized. If any of them become too powerful, we'll go at them.
It would be really fun to see how it plays out mechanically, too, because you could lean into the polytheistic nature of a lot of pagan religions.
Yeah.
And start saying that there are maybe different units or battalions have different powers because they're channeling different spirits or different gods. You could also have it be a very different political structure because there is not one single hierarchy. There isn't a pope necessarily. There doesn't have to be. It can just be more a collection of persecuted groups of faiths that have to form. Basically, it's almost like the crusade of the unified. Yeah. Right? And that would just be fun political dynamic for storytelling, too.
Before we go further on the polytheist thing, because I do have more notes on that, I just want to clarify again, a key part about this is they aren't taking anything and they aren't staying. The property's not interested. They're not interested in it. They're burning down the institutions and leaving. They're not converting. They're just saying,
they're not conquering is what you're saying.
They're not conquering. They have no interest in what you practice. They just want to make sure that you aren't going to fuck with them.
No, they're removing a threat.
They're removing a threat and then
nothing else.
And then they're out.
Yeah.
And so minimally invasive, I guess. But the so the polytheist thing, because I was playing around a lot.
Outpatient crusades.
That is the best way to break it. Yeah, it's an outpatient crusade. The Basque outpatient crusade. But so the polytheist thing, I think I played around with polytheism a lot, and like different gods having how would that play out in Crusades? And I was thinking about a world where, say you're in a world where there is one pantheon, like one real pantheon that everybody's underneath, and then each god is crusading against each other's god, like against each other. It's like rather than saying, okay, well, Zeus and Poseidon are brothers and they get along, it's saying Zeus and Poseidon are brothers, but they fucking hate each other, or they have this rivalry that says, crusade against my brother, go take his temples, and sending their holy warriors to go take over the other's temples.
Sure.
And then it is about property because it's about flexing on the other members of the pantheon to say, this is the one most powerful god in our cohort or whatever. And then you have some gods that say, I'm not interested in this, and they don't crusade. But then you have, out of nowhere, one of these gods says, now I'm pissed, and now I'm going to start crusading against everybody else. And you kind of having
you're both wrong, knock it off.
Yeah, and then it's like Aphrodite's coming out of nowhere being like,
interesting you went Aphrodite. I immediately, for some reason, went Bacchus or Dionysus, where he's just like, I'm trying to have a good time, and you guys are fucking it up.
It is
like, you're harshing my buzz. Stop it.
There is in Hades too. There is a joke that like all the gods on Olympus can give you boons, and then and they're all fighting this fight against this threat. But you'll find Dionysus having a party, and you're like, do you want to come help? And he goes, nah, man, it'll like we're immortal, we'll be fine. Like, I'm just having a great time. That's cool. And like you're actually my vibe kind of thing. Maybe it is Dionysus.
Yeah, I don't know why my brain went there, because of course Athena would make more sense of any of them.
I said Aphrodite, but you're right.
Like logically it would be Athena, but
or Ares,
or Ares maybe. I'm assuming that Ares would sort of get caught up in it already, because this is not about the family dynamics and internal family systems analysis of the Greek pantheon. We'll do that on another episode. Maybe. Apparently we will. I just said that we will, so we're going to do it on another episode at this point.
We're not.
Yes, we are.
You've already forgotten. ADHD strikes again.
No, I haven't. I remember exactly. That's a good idea, and I think we should do that. Anyway.
I think also part of this is satisfying this part of me, the atheist part of me, who is like, well, what if you just said, fuck your organized religion telling other people how to practice? I'm going to go and say, no. And I'm instituting a religious system in my world that says, like, organized religion becoming too big for its britches and fucking with people's livelihoods and, like, safety and just going to war. No, that's bad. It's fulfilling that fantasy for me as a creator that I think sometimes when people are doing religion in any sort of storytelling, you are also channeling and processing your own religious baggage.
Sure.
And then if your religious baggage is like, I don't like religion very much, or I don't have like this like deep love of it because I wasn't raised religious enough, or because I've forgotten religion or whatever, it can be hard to figure out what to latch onto in religion in stories. And so
that's why a lot of people get it wrong.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like, okay, well then why don't you just kind of find a way to like erase it from the foreground and just say, no, we are specifically making sure that religion is not a big enough factor in the politics of this world through something like this, or however you want to interpret it.
So funnily enough, South Park actually did an episode about that.
Of course they did.
Where
they've done like 400,000.
They cast, like, Cartman gets sent into the future in a world where Richard Dawkins takes over the world at some point, it's very funny. There is still a crusade. There are still two groups of people at war. And they're atheists, but they're at war over what to call themselves. Like, one wants to be like the American Scientific Society, and the other wants to be the Scientific Society of America. That's not exactly, it's something that dumb. The point that they're making, though, is that
people will just find a reason to go to war.
Will fight over anything.
Yeah.
So I see what you're doing, and I thought about that too, like the atheist crusade or the godless crusade, and I was like, oh, I see that, but it feels like
it's hard. Like, that's why I didn't go for atheist specifically. I went for like old ways, less organized religion. Yeah. Because I thought about like, what if you did an atheist crusade? And it's like, well, this feels like it's getting at that thing, but also I was really just channeling my Crusader Kings game.
Yeah,
But
which is really cool.
But it's also, that's a factor of like when I play Crusader Kings, I don't want to play as like a super Catholic or a super Muslim or like these super organized religions. Like I don't want to play that way. I want to play with religion isn't a factor in what I'm doing, but it has to be. Or you burn it all down and then it doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm burning it all down.
Burn it all down. I had an idea too. I more just because I liked the name. That's sort of similar. More just because I liked the name of it more than anything. Was I wanted the Crusade of the Excommunicated.
Ooh.
Which was one of the ideas I was toying with, basically, of all the people that were excommunicated from the church banding together to retake over the church. Which I thought would be kind of fun. That's not the full idea that I want to talk about, but that was one of the ones I was toying with.
So that feels similar in this way. So say you have, let's say you are in, Crusade era Europe, and the King of France is excommunicated, and the King of France says, we are going to crusade against the Catholic Church because they have lost their way. Right. And he crusades and takes out and takes out the Pope and says,
and crowns himself the Pope King.
Yeah. Or says, no more Pope, because I don't want other people should be excommunicated either. Just be Catholic. And then just like the clergy will figure it out. And have the different have the whatever
the cardinals figure something out.
Yeah, just like and then fundamentally reform the religion.
Yeah.
Being like, we will no longer have a single person in charge of this religion. We will have the different bishops all around Europe instead. I don't want
something Anglican Church something.
But being able to say if all of France backed him and was like, yeah, you can't, don't excommunicate our king. Our king is a very holy man.
Yeah.
And so you create a holy war out of like this one act where like the egos of two men are the only reason you're having a crusade.
One of my favorite historical facts related to French warfare involving the Catholic Church is when Napoleon was being crowned Emperor of France, and the Pope went to put the crown on him. Napoleon took it from the Pope and put it on himself.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a dope move. That's awesome. Like,
famously, he's good for history stories.
Yeah, he's great for it. But I was like, that's a great move.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, no, you do not declare me emperor. I declare myself emperor.
Yeah, I took this.
Yeah, my power comes from me, not from you.
It comes from God.
Right.
And I speak to God directly.
Correct.
As I just think divine right allows me to.
Yeah. So I sort of like that idea. Like the Crusade of the Excommunicated could be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get to your actual idea.
My actual idea, and I'm sorry to do this to us again, but have you ever heard of... Nope.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of Vivianite? But but real talk. I was thinking about it.
We did a crusade already.
It's a crusade because we did it in the context
for reference for anybody.
Refresher.
The House of Nyx is a long running idea. It's probably our favorite idea. Yeah. Featured in multiple episodes. Mega structures,
magical resources,
and then one other one I believe was also featured.
I can't remember.
But it is a civilization. It is a empire that is definitely Crusader-like in
its expansionist,
in that they believe all dead must be buried in their grand mausoleum. So they go and they exhume other people's dead to bury them properly in their mausoleum. Otherwise, they won't get to the afterlife.
Correct. In so doing, their burial properties also turn the human body into
a magical resource
called Nyx, which is based on real-world Vivianite, which grows under and they use that to power their war engine and their faith and their church, and it's just a fantastic idea. But I was thinking, and that's a crusade. Yes. It is a religiously motivated war, and let us also not pretend that religiously motivated wars also did not have side motivations or sub-motivations. It's just that the primary one might have been religious.
Yes.
So yes, the House of Nyx expanding might be religiously motivated because they're like, our belief calls us to exhume the dead and bury them in this way. And we also need to fuel the Nyx machine.
Yeah, we have
in order to do this.
We have a war machine that is reliant on our religious practice, and our religious practice, it needs more
war machine.
It needs more bodies. It needs more space
Correct.
To practice itself, and we've already done most of the area around us. So I guess we have to go further. So let us board these ships and go across the sea and invade this other place because we need to fulfill our religious mandate and our economic one.
If you are an evangelical religion, it requires resources to fuel an evangelical campaign. Once again, South Park did a fantastic episode about that, where they used the 700 Club to aliens were attacking, and they framed it as, oh, we need money for a J-17 Star Cruiser to go spread the gospel to these aliens, and we're just constantly running like pledge campaigns. It's very funny, but it's like if you are even if it is a genuine religious motivation, I'm not being cynical about this.
Yeah.
It is, if you are religiously motivated to evangelize, that requires resources.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it would lead to is expansion or evangelizing a crusade? Well, maybe. It could very easily turn that way.
Yeah.
And so that's what I thought. I thought the House of Nyx, reframing it not as a war for resources, but as a religious war, which it is just very interesting. It's such a, what did we do when it's a great idea.
Well, it started as a religious thing.
It did.
When I did it, it was religious.
religious.
And then you took it and made it a war machine, and now
we're bringing it back.
And then we brought it back now to being
But
I think there's
this is the perfect seamless integration of the two ideas.
I think it was perfect.
I think it was too.
Yeah. We're not integrating anything. I think we're just showing that there might be a natural progression that occurs. Because a key idea we talked about when we last discussed Nyx was this idea that it will eat itself because it will be, it will run out of everything, and it'll
burn out.
And the whole way that it's working basically means this is gonna they're gonna conquer the world and then collapse within a pretty
brief, any empire does.
Any empire does, especially one that was as expansionist and short-sighted as they were being. But this is a perfect shoot off of that to say, well, then they must go further to avoid collapse.
Right.
That they have perfect motivation to manipulate the populace to say we must, there are savages.
Let's say manipulate. Let's say motivate.
Well, I'm speaking specifically from the political side right now.
Got it.
You have the cynical politicians in charge at Nyx who say there are pagans, they are savages across the sea who we must go make sure
desecrate their dead by burying them in the earth, the foul, profane mud and the muck.
And there are thousands, millions of them. We need to help our brothers and sisters reach the afterlife. This feels very much like every religion. And then at the same time, knowing that the economic book says we've run out of dead bodies unless we go to war again, which gives us more of our own dead, and we can take their dead, which means we can make more Vivianite. And if we don't have Vivianite, we don't survive. So let's go. And then they sail across the sea and continue expanding their empire, but also are setting up an even further growth machine problem that they will collapse even sooner.
Correct.
Because now they're going to have even more to deal with.
Something late stage capitalism, something.
Something like that.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what it could be? Did you hear that? I didn't. No, I think you left a window open. I don't know what that was. That was some weird noise.
I think it was just a neighbor.
Yeah, it must have been.
We've done a lot on Nyx in this episode. Please refer to our previous episodes if you're curious. But it's a great idea. That is definitely for our longtime listeners. It's a treat for you.
And much like a crusade, it's a story a tale as old as time. They all sort of start sounding the same after a while.
This one literally is the same.
Literally, it is the same, but
it's just a reframe.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, so let's move to frozen lasagna. And
I forgot about those. We haven't done this in a while.
I can do a frozen lasagna first if you want.
Sure, go for it.
All right, so my smaller idea here was the idea of, in order to become the head of this church or religion, you have to successfully crusade. You have to be say you want to be crowned the new pope, you have to go crusade and win. And if you don't win, you don't become the new pope. And there is not always a pope. This is an ordained thing where the God will come down and say, you get to be tested. If you succeed in this crusade, I will give you long life. I will basically grant you a much longer life. You will live to 200 and
Become a Dunedain, basically.
yeah, and you will be in charge of my religion that entire time, and like great fortune, yada yada yada. But you must succeed. If you don't succeed, you'll die.
Nice.
Here's your test. Go.
Are the tests different each time? Like,
Yeah, it would just be it'd be a crusade to go conquer that thing. Go conquer that thing. It's not just like go get Jerusalem. It's like go do it, because it could be you set your own test. It's saying you must crusade successfully. If you succeed, you will know. If you fail, you'll be dead. So like go at it and basically leave it up to you to figure out what is the line. And it's up to you to interpret your ambition on my behalf.
Yeah.
How much of the world do you think should worship me? What do you think is appropriate? Because if you stop too early, then you will just be, you won't get this reward.
Nothing will happen,
Yeah, you will have done some good for this god, but you will not ascend in the same way.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. What's your frozen?
I forgot I'm not allowed to do feedback. Yeah. No, that's good.
You can give feedback if you want.
No, I think I
let
like
it
I like the element. I like the part where it's up to you and you have to sort of the sort of existential anxiety of faith.
Yeah, well, and a true test.
Yeah.
To say, I don't care.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
Is it good enough?
It's very much what a toxic, spouse would do. And be like, I don't care. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
It's like, no, please, just open communication would be great.
Yeah, except for this is God. They're pretty toxic in history. They're just, you figure it out. You tell me how much. Why don't you figure out exactly how much is good and then come talk to me?
I agree.
And that creates an interesting dynamic of this crusade part 1 finishes, and then it's the question the Crusaders have is, do we need to keep going? We don't know, or do we get to go home?
It reminds me of a story I heard. I think it might have been Kissinger. I forget. Or it was some political figure. I forget who. Whenever he would get a report, he would send it back just saying rewrite with no other guidance until he did it 2 or 3 times because he wouldn't read anything that hadn't been reviewed by the author 2 or 3 times. It's like, well, that's
a dick move.
Well, that's why
it's probably Kissinger.
It might be Kissinger.
May he burn in hell.
Speaking of burning, don't burn that lasagna. Oh, that was terrible. Don't want to do that at all. Can you burn things in a microwave? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. My frozen lasagna.
Can you burn things in a microwave, you asked?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing great.
Okay, what's your frozen lasagna?
Suicide Squad Crusaders. I said it as kind of a joke line earlier. But I do sort of like the idea of almost like the Barbarian Crusades, where a religious leader is openly going to sinners and dangling salvation over their head to say, you owe me a debt. Like, your sin is so great. You owe me or the church or our higher power a debt of X number of souls. Like, you owe 10,000 souls.
Okay.
You've incurred a debt because you've sinned so greatly. And they use that to build an army out of the worst, very sort of Sardaukar.
Okay.
And that is the source of their crusading army. So less a political or religious motivation for one, but it's a
good way of how you form it. Because you can plug it into any
because
motivation.
So many of the Crusaders are often
they're the holy warriors who are like
the myth
they're the paladins who have been
Templar,
here the whole time,
right? Yeah.
But in reality, a lot of them were probably the dregs of society who were promised salvation, but that's not what the history books tell us. Because why would they?
I think there's some. I think there is definitely some acknowledgement that yes, it was used as a way of earning penance, but I want this to be much more explicit.
That it's entirely that, basically.
And it's entirely that, and I actually like the idea of like you have a debt to pay of souls to be freed or released or converted or whatever it is. Yeah. This is a much more cynical approach. This is not as good faith of a rationale behind a crusade.
It's a very cynical thing because it's probably a politically motivated crusade. That is, you get
Still religious.
You take your extremist, like vicious fighters, your SS, and be like, hey, you want to repent? Here's your opportunity.
Right.
We're going on a holy war now. And then I, as your religious head, can guarantee you will be rewarded, or you will get into the afterlife, or whatever.
Once you've paid off your debt.
It has a very like Vikings Valhalla theme to it, of
bit.
like you go to war to, you die and go to Valhalla, which
Little Inglorious Bastards too.
Yeah, that works. And that could just be also in like an urban fantasy. That doesn't even have to be in like a high fantasy. You
No,
just
not
do
at
that
all.
in like the real world.
Absolutely.
All right, what's stuck for you?
I really like what you did about flipping the pagans, being the ones leading the Crusades instead of vice versa. It'd be really fun to see what if history. I'm thinking about how, like in Santeria or Voodoo, a lot of the Orishas were blended in with Catholic saints, right? Because there were so many, that was the way that they could sort of blend religions enough to have the Catholic Church take some religious authority, right?
Okay.
I would like to see how the Catholic saints got overtaken by the Orishas and the Voodoo saint, right? I think that would be really fun. Beyond that, I like the phrasing of the Crusade of the Excommunicated.
Yeah.
That's a cool way of reframing the story of the Anglican Church, basically, just with more war.
Yeah, because it was just like, well, we're leaving.
Yeah.
As opposed to, fuck you, I'm getting a divorce, and I'm getting a divorce at the Vatican. I'm going to behead her here.
Right. Here, because I said so.
Yeah.
And so I think that's fun, right? And I was thinking about it as more of all of the excommunicated people banding together, more like an uprising. You making it about these two stubborn assholes going head to head makes it way more fun. Sort of like what I was saying with Napoleon earlier.
Yeah.
What about you? What stuck for you?
I think I like the Suicide Squad thing about the like, I promise you salvation in exchange for, because I think that you can just plug that in so many spots.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I'm sure
really
it's been done before. I don't care.
Oh, probably. Yeah. And most things have been done before. We don't care.
Ain't nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, true. And I love the pagan thing, obviously. I really enjoyed our like just kind of the imagery of the Greek dynamics of like, I'm taking over Poseidon's temple. No, I'm taking over Zeus's temple. And then like somebody being like, oh my God, fucking stop. I'm invading all of you. I'm taking every temple and nobody gets any temples. They're all Athena's temples now. Fuck you. Or they're all Aphrodite's temples, and good luck. Do you want to kill us? Like, she just seduces everybody.
You're gonna interrupt the orgy?
Yeah.
You really want to interrupt this?
Yeah, she just goes in as an orgy.
This looks
great.
great.
Everyone would be like, okay, well maybe
I get it. You could kill. This is also really fun though.
Yeah. So let's stop with this shit.
Yeah.
Like I think that's just like a fun image.
Athena coming in and doing that though is like that feels the most logical. I think I said that earlier, but that still feels the most. It's real big dick energy. Like
it's like it's the. I forget his name, but the guy who was the Speaker of the House in the UK, the Speaker of the House of Commons, the Order, like that guy, who was on the Traitors, weirdly. But he was on the U.S. version of the Traitors, and nobody knew who he was. And like I did, I was like, oh my God, that's the guy from the House of Commons. What the fuck? And they were like, he's just like a British lord. I was like, no, he's a pretty important British politician for like 30 years. But okay. Anyway. Crusades are hard to do in a vacuum, but I think we have some good templates you could apply.
Agreed.
A lot of places.
A war with religious motivations prosecuted by a religious institution. Go play. That's what stuck for us.
Let us know what stuck for you.
Emails in the show notes.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.